desperation is negative reinforcement. Now what they have in common is that they both bring a positive result. You know, there is one thing that I didn't quite understand when I was doing this at college. When I first read about negative reinforcement, because at first I thought negative reinforcement is reinforcing a negative thing. But no, both the positive and the negative reinforcement, they're trying to get you to do the right thing. You understand? It's like when you're saying negative reinforcement, you're trying to can your child. It's negative reinforcement because it's pain associated, but you're doing that to get the child to do the right thing. The same as if you were rewarding the child with a sweet, getting them to do the right thing. So the end result is the same, but the means of doing it is exactly the opposite. You understand? Rather than that, the negative reinforcement is something that gets someone to do the wrong thing. Some people confuse that, so I thought I would just mention it. But anyway, so that's what it is. But science proves it that positive reinforcement is more powerful than negative reinforcement. And it lasts longer than negative reinforcement. They both work, but one is far more powerful. So if you want lasting results, they say look for positive reinforcement techniques to reinforce the behavior rather than negative. Okay? Which points up to the same thing, that motivation actually can be even something more powerful than working out of necessity. Do you understand? They both work. They can both get you up in the morning to go to work, but if you're motivated enough, you'll probably do better. You'll probably be more productive. You'll probably make a bigger difference in whatever it is you're doing. You'll probably wake up, say you're trying to lose weight. Someone who's trying to lose weight because of negative reinforcement, say he wants to lose weight because people look at him and he feels like when people look at him, they laugh at him. I'm just giving as an example, for instance. That's negative reinforcement. So they're working out because of the pain and the humiliation in their mind that people are looking and they feel like, oh, the people think I don't look good. But in comparison to someone who is working out because, say, he feels by working out he gets more energy. You know, by working out he feels better. By working out he likes his new look. He's aspiring to something better. He's motivated by what he would become. Who do you think would keep at it more? Definitely the person who is aspiring to something to become, rather than the person who is trying to run away from a situation. Okay? Let's move on. Okay, so acting based on necessity, the negative reinforcement, leads to survival. And unfortunately, you know, us humans, I was just thinking about it, I said, we're very similar to animals, other animals, and yet very different. Okay? We're very similar in the sense that we are survival beings. But we are very different in the fact that we can make choices. We can carve our own path. We can decide, right, yesterday I did this, today I'm going to do something completely different. Animals can't. You know, even the most intelligent animal, they just can't. You know, when you talk about the wildebeest, when it comes this time of the year, they'll all be running this way. You are guaranteed. You go at that time of the year, they will all be going that way. You will not find a single wildebeest going the opposite direction. Come the other time of the year, they are all going the other way. Nobody is telling anyone that this year we're going to do it differently. They all do exactly the same. Same with the birds, same with the lions. They hunt exactly the same. The way the lions were hunting 4,000 years ago is exactly the same they are hunting today. But not as humans. 4,000 years ago we were also hunters. But we were not hunting the same way. We were hunting different. Now we hunt differently. I'm still hunting today. But I hunt differently. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the difference. But we still, being part of the animal kingdom, we still have the survival instincts. We are still survival beings, in a sense. Now, I'm mentioning this because I want to point you out into something which I think is very important. That if we are not motivated enough, if we don't have motivation to do what we want to do, we revert back to what every other animal does, to survive. So we just do enough to survive. You work enough to survive. You understand? You just work at the bare minimum. So you're not working to thrive, you're not working to develop, you're not doing anything. And that's where the automation comes. You just end up doing same thing because it keeps you surviving. When it happens, a situation that is cornering you and you're in danger, your survival has been endangered, what do? You change. But you change just enough to continue surviving. Do you understand? But that's not the way to live. As humans, we're not called to survive. We have to thrive. We have to grow. We have to succeed. To be able to do this, we have to self-motivate. If we don't do this deliberately, if we don't change that mindset deliberately, if we don't try and look at ways to keep ourselves motivated deliberately, we'll end up surviving. We'll end up doing the same things. Life will end up becoming mediocre all the time. We will still manage, but that's all we'll do. Okay? So action based on necessity leads to survival. Action based on self-motivation leads to growth, thriving, and success. Next. Or are you still writing that? Do you want me to go back?
No, it's okay.
You good? Okay. Next one. Let's talk about motivation killers. Now I've grouped them into 4 categories. The first one is physical, mental, emotional, and social. These are, I call them motivational killers because these are the areas and the things that I could come up with. There are lots of others you might come up with, and maybe during discussion at the end, you might, elaborate on a few others that you might come up with. From the physical side, ill health, lethargy, fatigue. So many times we overlook this, the physical side of things. That our body, our physical body, our physiology, our hormones, everything the way it works. It's the body. Let me put it this way: the body has been designed to complement your mind. Does that make sense? It means it is designed to make your mind flourish. Let me use that word. And if your body is not working quite at its optimum level, your mind cannot work at its optimum level. It's as simple as that. If you're not well rested in your body, you can't think properly. And you find that easily when you go to the extreme. Try not to sleep for a couple of days. You can't think. In fact, you start losing memory. It messes you up big time. Now that is an extreme. That does not mean that it does not happen under sort of normal circumstances. Even little fatigue, it messes you up. That's why they say if you're trying to learn something, learn when you are very energetic, preferably in the morning. Your body is well rested, you're waking up, you're full of energy. That's when your mind is the sharpest. Not in the evening just before you go to bed. Okay? Simple reason. It's because your mind is complemented by the status of your physical body. So ill health, fatigue, lethargy, tiredness, it really messes up your motivation, your ability, your energy to go out there in the world and do what you want to do. Alright? Mental. Lack of knowledge, ignorance. If you don't know something, if you don't know how to do something, you can't be motivated. So sometimes what kills our motivation to go out, to do things, to achieve things, to act on the plans that we have and the ambitions and the things that we want to achieve in life, whatever they may be. Probably it's because of lack of knowledge. Every time we try to with even contemplate on doing it, we kind of think like, gosh, how am I going to do this? I have no idea how to do it. So that can be a motivation killer. Negative mindset. The other day we talked about mindset here and we covered it a lot. And we said mindset is everything. I mean, if you have a negative mindset, it doesn't matter. Anything that comes to any situation, somehow you would manage to turn it into an impossible situation. Okay? So that also kills a lot of motivation. Emotional. Now this is probably the most common. Fear. Anger. Fear is quite easy to grasp. I mean, yeah, if you're fearful of a certain situation, obviously it kills your motivation because you're afraid of doing it for whatever reason. So if you can't overcome your fear, then obviously that will kill your motivation. Anger. Now, personally, when I'm angry, I can't do anything. I don't know about you, but when I'm angry, and it doesn't matter, You know, sometimes you might say, say I'm angry at my wife, right? For whatever reason, we've had a fight or something has happened and she's upset me. You kind of think, you know what, I can just go on and do other things. And yes, I might try to do that, but I will lose a big chunk of my motivation to do what I do. Because somehow I'm not at the right place. It affects a lot. Depression, it goes without saying. If you're depressed, you don't have the energy, you don't have the drive. It's exactly the opposite of motivation. Hate. I've heard people saying that, you know, sometimes I'm motivated to do something because I hate. That is not motivation. And it's not lasting. If you're going to think that you're going to achieve something, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? It's almost like getting into that is not motivation, that is competition. Because it's almost like you're trying to do something because you're trying to get at someone. That's not motivation, and it's not going to be lasting. And certainly it's not going to be effective. Okay? So emotions, they can really kill our motivation. But not just in the negative side of things. If you go to the positive emotions as well, they can boost your motivation big time. Love, joy, happiness, positivity. You know what I mean? It can really boost your motivation big time. Social. I've just got one thing there. Negative people, they can kill your motivation. You wake up in the morning and you feel on top of the world, and you just meet one person, or you make this one phone call, and it brings you right down. Because some people, it's just the way they talk. It's just the words they use. It is just their outlook of the world. It's just so negative. And it brings you right down. Okay? So it's important to understand these motivation killers, because when you're looking at ways to keep ourselves motivated, these are the things we need to actually counteract or avoid altogether. Okay? Next, how to stay motivated. Now this is the important bit. How can we ensure that we stay motivated? And probably even during discussion we might have time to talk about this. How to stay motivated. Now, the first thing I came up with is do not seek perfection. Strive to improve daily. One of the biggest problems that stops us from acting is inherently we are perfectionists. To different extents, but we are perfectionists. You want to do something right, isn't it? I mean, if you're going to do something, you want to do it right. You don't want the embarrassment of doing it wrong, isn't it? You don't want the embarrassment of failing. So somehow, every time you think of doing something, or every time you think of achieving something, you have a picture in mind, don't you? Isn't it? Yeah. You have a picture in mind. There is a way you picture yourself to be, where you picture yourself to become, where you picture yourself to do something. But clearly, because you've never done it, you're not going to try it the first time and have it exactly the same way it was in the picture you have in your head, is it? It's never going to happen, is it? So, perfection is an illusion, really. Because whenever you try to do something, it means you haven't mastered it yet. And therefore, it's not going to be perfect. There is no such thing as perfect anyway. There is always room for improvement. So do not seek perfection. Always strive to improve daily. This is the most important thing, improving daily. That if you're trying to do something and you've got your goals, you've said everything, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to get there, and you've got your plan in place, don't worry about the end product. Just worry about getting better daily. I love this quote. Actually, I've summarized it. It was a bit longer. I summarized the middle bit. It says, I am in competition with no one. I am simply trying to be better than the person I was yesterday. That is powerful. All you're competing against is the child of yesterday. That today, I am going to be better. In every single way. I'm going to be more at it, I'm going to be more focused, I'm going to love more, I'm going to be more composed, I'm going to be calmer, I'm going to be more efficient, I'm going to be more on time, I'm going to be, whatever it is you're trying to improve, I'm going to be more productive, whatever it is, you're just trying to get better. And you're saying, I just need to keep making that step forward, just that little step forward. if you have that kind of attitude, your motivation levels will still be up. Your motivation level go down when you look at yourself and you look at the end product, you kind of think like, oh, really, I don't stand a chance. You understand? You wake up in the morning, you do something, obviously you're not going to see the results instantly. You come at the end of the day, you look at where you're picturing yourself to be, that perfect picture you have in your mind, or that perfect picture you've got on the wall, and you think, oh boy. You lose the motivation, okay? So don't seek perfection, look to improve daily. In the same line, let's talk about the Olympic motto a little bit. Has anyone seen this? Obviously, we know the rings. Has everyone seen the motto? The Olympic motto is saying CTS, RTS, 4TS. Have you ever heard of that? No. Can you guess what it means? CTS, RTS, 4TS. That's the Olympic motto. That's the official Olympic motto, by the way. What do you think it means?
I don't know what that is.
It's Latin.
Force.
It's
What
Latin.
is like moving forward or something like that?
Fort, yes. When you talk about a fort, what are you talking about? What is it?
What for? I mean, like, government. What?
Ngome. Fort is Ngome. What comes to mind? Something
Shielded, strong, safe?
strong. Altius, altitude, height.
Sight, see.
Actually, no. CTS is about speed. Basically, that means faster or swifter. Faster, higher, stronger. Okay? That's the motto. Faster, higher, stronger. Now, I like the quotes. I like the motto because it goes very well with what athletes do. Okay? The other day we talked about athletes and we talked about personal best. That every single athlete that goes to the Olympics can come back as a winner. We know that you only got 3 medalists, the gold medalist, the silver medalist, and the bronze medalist, but anyone can come back as a winner. And sometimes if you've watched Olympics or any of these athletic games, you might have someone that is not on the medals list, hasn't made up to the medals, probably is not even 4th, he's not even 5th, probably is even last. And at the end of whatever race they were doing, that person is celebrating like crazy. And you kind of think, are you mad? What are you celebrating for? You haven't won anything. You actually came last. But the person is still celebrating. Why? Because that person actually improved on his own performance. Probably made his personal best. By personal best, it means that person has done it better than he's ever done it before. So he could still be last, but as far as he's concerned, he's achieved something. Now I think this motto was this way by design. They could have said fastest, strongest, fastest, highest, strongest. That we are looking for the best. But no, all they're interested is faster, higher, stronger. That all they're interested is for you to actually do it better. Strive to do more. And if you go, this is the Olympic motto, they have the Olympic creed, which is like a longer version. And basically they're saying about the same thing. That is, though you come to win, but it's not about winning. It's about competing, and competing, what's the word they use? They say you competing bravely. You become brave at the attempt of winning. So that means you're giving your best. You're trying to do more. You're trying to improve. You're trying to do better. Okay? So this is very important. So yeah, that's the meaning: faster, higher, stronger. It's not about the fastest, highest, strongest. It's all about individual athletes' personal best, which I've explained. And perfection, if anything, it demotivates you. I mean, if look at it this way, right? Let's say we're talking about sprinting. I've gone to the Olympics, I'm going to do 100-meter sprinting. And I know I'll be running side by side with Usain Bolt. Now, Usain Bolt has got the record. And it is 9 seconds and 9.58, I think, seconds, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, you might forgive me, sorry. But I think it's 9.58, okay? Now, the best I've ever done is 10.01. Now, if I'm going to the Olympics with the mindset that I'm going to catch Usain Bolt with his 9.58, I'm going to be demotivated because I know I can't do it. I've worked out, I have rehearsed, I've done everything I could do, in perfect conditions, because that's what happens when you're practicing. You know, perfect conditions, perfect mindset. You've got your coach right next to you telling you exactly the techniques and everything, and I've only managed my best as 10.01. Now I'm lining up with someone going 958. I'll just be demotivated. I'll just know from the start. I'm just like, you're starting there, but you know I'm not going to win. Do you understand? So I need a different mindset. Well, the mindset I need is to say, right, my best is 10.01. How can I improve on this one, regardless of anybody else? And that's how they do it. So it's all about improving. It's all about doing it better. It's all about pushing yourself just a little bit harder. Okay? Obviously, Usain Bolt, when he goes into that, he's not looking at anybody else, because really, if he did, he would think like, I'm in a stroll in the park here. He's got 10.01, 10.09, 11, 9.99. I'm just going to be jogging. But he doesn't do that. He's focusing on the 9.58 and say, am I going to beat that? Do you understand? So everybody has got his own standard by which he's measuring himself against. Can I do better than I did yesterday? Can I become a better person than the Charles of yesterday? That is the way to motivate yourself, isn't it? Perfection motivates you, improvement motivates you. Next, keep learning. Now this is really important. Keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. This is something we usually stop the moment we leave full-time education. It's unfortunate, the education system, there are things the education system doesn't teach us. One, at least it didn't teach me. It doesn't teach us about money. You sent us that video by Robert Kiyosaki. And Kiyosaki talks about this really well. And he's one of the greatest critiques of today's education system. It doesn't teach us about money whatsoever. Even at a degree level, even if the finance people, someone doing a degree in finance, they are still not being taught about money. I mean, it's almost like they're being told to go and work as a finance person, but they're not really being taught about money. You understand? Another thing that we're not being taught is that learning is a lifelong process. Most of us were not taught that. So usually, the moment we leave school, we think like, we've learned enough, now we're just going to do. And you think the learning process is finished. Now the danger of that is this. You will continue to learn, because your brain is still out there looking for information, it's still getting information, it's still being fed with things. The question is, what is it being fed with? You've lost that control. When in full-time education, there is control. Everything is controlled. There is a curriculum. That's why they call it. It's a curriculum. That you will do this, and then we will test you. And then you will do this, and then we'll test you. And if you don't do it quite right, this is what's going to happen. And then we'll do this, and then we'll test you. And then we'll do this, and then we'll give you a certificate. Understand? It's programmed, it's designed, it has a goal at the end. That you're growing this way, at the end of the day, you will come out this way. You know, you go to medical school first year. I remember when we went there, I mean, we were like kids. You know, we know nothing. You know, you go in one way, you're like this little kid, you come out the other way, you're a doctor. Up here, even in your outlook. You understand? Because the education is designed to make you that way at the end of the day. Unfortunately, when we come up the other end, we forget that that should continue for the rest of your life. That learning process has to continue for the rest of your life, and it has to continue actively. Because if you don't do it actively, it will continue passively, but you will be letting a lot of junk, a lot of negative stuff, a lot of things happening. I was listening to this guy, I can't quite remember who it was. I'm not sure if it's Zig Ziglar or it was